Alright, welcome back everyone. Tonight we're going to talk about how to multiply decimals. Last week you guys learned how to add and subtract decimals, and you learned that it was very important to line up the decimal places when you add and subtract. Fortunately, that's not an issue when we multiply. We do not need to worry about lining up the decimals. But we'll notice that here that's going to happen anyway because there's only one decimal place. So let's work on 27.5 times 1.4. Now if we're using the correct terminology, that would be 27 and 5/10 times 1 and 4/10. Now we're going to multiply just like normal. So this is 5 times 4, which is 20. 4 times 7, which is 28, plus 2 is going to give us 30. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Don't forget to put your 0 in as a placeholder. And we've got 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 2 is 2. So when we add this together, we get 3,850, but notice that really doesn't make sense if we've got 27 and a half up here multiplied by 1.4. If that's what we've got, then we shouldn't get an answer that's this big. And what we're missing is our decimal place. So to figure out where our decimal belongs, we're going to go back up here and notice how many decimal places we had to begin with. Now with the first number, 27 and a half, we had one decimal place. And with our second number, we had, again, one decimal place. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add them together, and that's going to give us two decimal places down at the bottom. So now I'm going to start from the right side, and I'm going to move 2 spaces over, and I'm left with 38 and 5/10. Okay, so now let's try a word problem. Here we've got Carly earning $8.40 per hour at her part-time job. On Saturday, she worked for 5 7/75 hours. What were her total earnings for the day? So this is going to be a multiplication problem because we've got 5.75 hours, and each of those hours she's earning $8.40. So 5.75 can be multiplied by 8.4. Now I told you guys before that we don't need to worry about lining up the decimals, but let's look at why. Okay, if we were to do that, we're not going to get the wrong answer, and I'll show you why. Note that when we put this in here, we need to put a 0 in as our placeholder, just like we did when we were adding and subtracting with decimals. Now, if I go to work this out, 0 times 5 is 0, 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 5 is 0. So my entire top line that I would add would just give me 0. And the rest of it is multiplication as usual. So if I work it out similarly over here, my decimal places are just in a slightly different spot, but I've got 5 times 4 is 20, 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 3, or plus 3 is 23. 0 is my placeholder. 8 times 5 is going to give me 40. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 4 is 60. 8 times 5 is 40, again plus 6 is 46, and I get 0, 0, 3, 2 plus 6 is 8, and there's 40. Alright, so let's go back here and check out our decimal places and see how we're doing. Up here we had 1 decimal place. Why is my pen not working? Oh, I'm sorry. Here we had, that's my bad, we had 2 decimal places. Now here we had 1 decimal place. Which is going to give us a grand total of 3 decimal places at the bottom, because we're adding them together. So if I start from the right and I go 1, 2, 3 spots over, then Carly will have earned $48.30 in her 5.75 hour shift. Alright, so now that you've seen me work out a few of these problems, I want to see if you guys can try to work some out on your own. There are 2 problems on the back side of your notes sheet. I want you to try to work them out, and while you work them out, write down any questions that you have, any points that you're unsure about, and be sure to ask them in class on Wednesday. Thanks!